clerk for I guess including the packet, but this is about a 200-page document. And so I do know one piece that is in there that is important is tied to OSA. So that language is in there. But if we're dealing with a document that hadn't been updated since 2018, I'm just simply saying that I would like a little more time. If my town attorney today told me that he would need some time to review it himself, and we are reviewing it, and there are some things that I think, it's not anything detrimental, but I do think that I would just simply like a little more time to review this document. I do think that specifically I did ask about the loss of the grant funding. If it was something that was much larger than that, then I would probably not be making this recommendation. But I do think that the importance of this document being done properly, I do think that we could absorb that if that's the pleasure of the board.
What troubles me is that, we're trying to balance the budget, and every dollar that we're trying to save here, and then we're just going to give up $2,500 because the policy wasn't reviewed in the last 2 weeks. I mean, that's just the way it appears to me.
Never said it was reviewed. We're not ready. There are changes that we're looking at. But again, it's at the pleasure of the board. We can update it and at any time. So if you guys want to go ahead and approve it tonight, we can come back with an amendment to it at a later date. But that is up to the board.
Would you be okay if the HR director weighed in on a recommendation?
Sure.
Since it is her policy.
Hi, thank you. We've been working with, the league recommended we work with the MAPS group for this, so there were about 45 substantial changes, which I had printed out for you guys to go over tonight. The personnel policies are pretty template, so there aren't a lot of significant changes, but we actually have until June 30th to adopt it in order to still receive our grant funding. And it cost $5,000, and they do 50%, so that's the $2,500.
It was a matching
It was presented to all the department heads on June 8th. That was the first review, and then it was supposed to be on the board for the 15th meeting. So, ready now or ready next time?
Was it sent to Dan on June 8th?
I don't know if he sent it to Dan or not on the 8th. I don't know when he sent it to Dan.
Okay. All right.
It's a 73-page document.
Mayor.
All right, board, we have a motion and a second. Commissioner Hamilton?
Leanne, I have a question. So the document that was sent to us in the agenda that I replied to, and you made some changes, was that not the right one, or was there more to that document?
No, that's the document, and I have the document with the recommendations you made, as long as some of the recommendations from the department heads made in those that I was going to present with you tonight.
So that was the total one?
That was,
Okay,
yes.
all right, great, thank you.
Okay.
Karonda, are we good on video and sound? Okay. All right, board, so we got a motion and a second to remove item under new business item B. All in favor? 1, 2. All opposed? Still got, Mayor Pro Tem still has a question.
Considering what Ms. Leanne said, that the date is June 30th, would our town attorney be able to have it reviewed by June 30th, and we come back at the end of June on that Monday meeting and approve it? To not lose the...
Do we still have the 29th scheduled?
Have the 29th.
That's the day, thank you.
That's the pleasure of the board.
We wouldn't have to lose the $2,500 because then we'd have to, correct me if I'm wrong, we would have to then pay the $2,500 or come up with the $2,500 to cover it?
Good with that.
Is that what I heard?
That's exactly right, Mayor Pro Tem. So if the board would like to remove item B tonight and then schedule a 6 p.m. special meeting on Monday, 1 week from tonight, to approve the policy, this would go back to Chancellor. Would you and Dan have the appropriate amount of time to review it?
I think so.
I have a question, Mayor.
Okay, Commissioner Hamilton?
Thank you, Mayor. Didn't the town manager say that it could be, even if we approved it this evening, that it could be amended so that we don't lose that money? Did you say that, Mr. McLaughlin?
Yes, I did say that. Like I said, my concern is approving an amendment that
Exactly.
needs an amendment. But
Right.
again, it's at the pleasure of the board. Thank you.
So my thoughts are, if we go ahead and approve it, we can always amend it so that we don't lose that money and have to pay for it. So that's my opinion. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Hamilton. Commissioner Mitchell?
Leanne, all right, with the amendment process, would it have a negative impact either way?
So I just want to be clear, it's not an amendment, it's a completely revised policy. I know semantics, but
right.
yeah. So if you were to make an amendment to that policy, it would be the same process we're having now. Like I said, I could still go over the 45 changes with you, and then you can consider those for approval next meeting if you wanted to do that.
She can submit them.
What if we were to leave it on the agenda, have her go over the changes and table it till the 29th?
I'm good with that.
That'll give Dan time to finish review.
Yeah.
All right.
You go ahead with your presentation tonight. We'll table until the 29th at 6.
Okay.
Is that amenable to the board?
If that's the pleasure of the board, I can work with that.
Commissioner Marley, you'd have to rescind your entire motion and your second.
Let me try it again. Yeah, I'm fine with review of it, just no action to be taken on it tonight.
Okay. Could rescind your second?
Second.
Okay. All right, so let me go back and start at the beginning again. Approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
Motion to approve.
Second? All in favor? 1, 2, 3. Everybody? Okay. That's unanimous. Agenda is approved. Before we get into item 2 presentation, I'd like to acknowledge Dr. Tara Jordan is with us tonight from Cumberland County School Board. Thank you very much for coming. You guys are going through a budget too. Hard decisions for us and for you guys too. All right, item 2, presentation, which is the proclamation honoring Mrs. Judy Musgrave under tab 1.
The Town of Hope Mills, North Carolina, a proclamation of honor celebrating the life, legacy, and leadership of Mrs. Judy Musgrave. Whereas Mrs. Judy Musgrave, a native of LaGrange, North Carolina, and valedictorian of Lenoir County Schools, has dedicated her life to academic excellence, earning a bachelor's in chemistry from Shaw University, a biochemistry fellowship from the University of Michigan, and a master's in education from Fayetteville State University. And whereas she served Cumberland County Schools with distinction until her 2012 retirement, impacting thousands of lives as a physics, chemistry, and mathematics teacher, instructional curriculum facilitator, and secondary mathematics curriculum specialist. And whereas her profound dedication to education earned her the Order of the Longleaf Pine Reed Ross Teacher of the Year Award, the Governor's Award for Mathematics Teaching Excellence, and a nomination for the Presidential Award for Mathematics Teaching. And whereas she continued her advocacy for children as an at-large member of the Cumberland County Board of Education and a former adjunct professor at Fayetteville State University, and whereas she had demonstrated unparalleled community generosity, earning the Community Support Award for donating over 350 teddy bears and thousands of dollars in math resources to local classrooms, and whereas she was an active leader at Bethel AME Zion Church, a talented performer with the Cape Fear Regional Theater, and a lifetime member of the National Council of Negro Women, and whereas her extraordinary legacy of philanthropy, sorry, I'm from New York, I can't say that word, educational mastery, and civic engagement earned her the title of Living Legend from Shaw University, and whereas Mrs. Musgrave lived as a devoted Christian who conquered the Olympiad of life, by stating her case, building her base, knowing how to erase, checking her pace, serving with grace, and finishing the race.
Now therefore, let it be known that we, the Hope Mills Board of Commissioners, do hereby recognize, honor, and commend Mrs. Judy Musgrave for her monumental contributions to education, her unwavering faith, and her lifelong devotion to the uplifting of the community. Proclaimed this 22nd day of June, 2026. Thank you very much. Next item is public comments. That's under item 3. We'll read out each name. Hopefully I don't have to go over the rules, but it's 3 minutes a person. So, Joanne Scarola, you're up first.
Joanne Scrolla, 5429 Archer Road. All right. Good afternoon, or evening. So after 6 budget sessions, it was settled Monday on a 4.5 cent. Oh,
We're on to the clock.
I wasn't planning on going over, but okay. After 6 budget sessions, it was settled Monday on a 4.5 cent increase, which honestly is very fair. Then a Facebook post suggested cutting staff. Now another closed session. That's all I've seen, closed session after closed session. Who is pushing this agenda? Because you guys aren't thinking for yourself. So you're listening to other people. Don't claim to support staff while proposing cuts that put staff livelihoods at stake. All right? The board blames staff for last year's budget about the audit. We were all up there. We were the ones that made the decision, not the staff. They can only recommend. You guys should know that. You're the damn elected. Figure that out. Or get off the board if you can't figure that out.
Joanne, language now.
I didn't curse. You're cutting into my time. All right. Blaming anyone but the elected is ludicrous. Do we think fewer hands will make the town thrive as far as staff? We need transparency and not reversals. You can't appease everyone, so stop trying to be everyone's friend. Leadership demands tough, honest decisions. You have to think for yourself. Stop trying to get your agendas taken care of by going to your friends. Start thinking for yourselves. This is the most indecisive. Don't look at your audience. See, think for yourself. Think for yourself. And I'm going to say that to all of you. This is the most indecisive and lazy board I've ever seen. That's all I got.
Thank you. Mr. John Martinson.
That's a hard act to follow. Good evening. My name is John Martinson, 5840 Levante Drive. I was going to cover a couple things I didn't get to speak last week to start. And I think I've got them memorized. Since 2021, the budget's increased by $13.8 million, not including this year. Public safety is increased by about $5.5 million. And yet, we've only added 519 citizens to our rolls, according to Google. Now, something about the math there just isn't adding up. All this extra money, extra personnel, and yet we're still in a hole. So I've been trying to follow along here, so I've been getting confused. The mayor said that we were working on a budget for $22.2 million, which held the line at 48 cents, and that was the direction that the board and the mayor gave to the town manager. And that's the budget he presented. And then 2 weeks later, you find out, well, that isn't what you got. You did not get a balanced budget, because in order for it to be balanced, you'd have to do an amendment to come up with $700,000, $600 to pay for 5 public safety positions. So he's not doing his job, clearly. And then who directed him to put 5 public safety positions in peril by not increasing taxes? So he's driving the budget, and that ain't right. I've said 2 or 3 times in a row, you should fire this town manager. And how did he settle on the public safety? Aren't there other departments here that you could make cuts from? And I know there's one commissioner who said a couple of meetings ago, I cannot and will not support cutting personnel in this climate. And that's just the wrong attitude. You got to keep an open mind, not a closed mind, to all options. So, yeah, I mean, I just wondering who's running the train here. I mean, the budget went up 1.4 million in 22 to 23, 600,000 the next year, 3.2 million the next year. In 25, 26, it was 1.5 million. And now this one's up another 1.5. Plus you said you cut 1.9, so he's proposing a budget of increase of 3.5. I know I went over time. I apologize. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, John. Okay, Mo, you know. Come on up here. Where's your mic at from Juneteenth?
Mayor,
Go ahead.
before she gets started, I respectfully ask the mayor to explain the comments from the gentleman that aren't true. We're not going to sit up here and hang our manager out to dry when those positions were in the budget all along. It was a cost-saving measure that was presented to have lapsed salaries. If those officers left, those positions wouldn't be filled for the remainder of this budget year to capture lapsed salaries. So those positions were funded. The manager did not lie. He has not done anything other than what this board directed him to do. The lies are out there, and they're untrue, and what you read on Facebook is not the gospel. I would ask you to call our town manager, speak to him in person. He's here 8 to 5 Monday through Friday. He will be glad to explain it to you and any other citizen in this town. But I cannot sit up here and let my employee be called a liar, basically, and taken advantage of, and the blame and the brunt of this be put on him when he had nothing to do with it. Now, would you like to explain the real reason, or would you like to call
I think
him?
you just explained it, Commissioner Marley. Okay, moving on. Mo, you know. Thank you, John. And thank you very much for the MC of Juneteenth on Saturday.
Thank you so much, Mayor. That's why I'm here, to thank you, the board, LaMarco, Mr. McLaughlin, for the opportunity to represent Hope Mills. I grew up in Hope Mills, went to Southview, ended up graduating from Byrd, but Cumberland County Schools has always been my heart. At the Juneteenth event, it went off without a hitch, but there was an incident that I found out about on Facebook that I'm sure everyone has seen it by now. So one of the things I would like to propose, because I was in the military for 20 years, worked staff agency protocol, I came up with the plan to help us when we have events, when public officials show up. We need some order, because we don't need county officials, commissioners getting into it with our vendors, with our citizens. That's just not a good look for us. So I would love to propose sending the proposal to you guys to work with you before I take it straight to the county and say, hey, we need to fix this, because we do need some order when our elected officials are out in the public. We need to know if you're coming, when you're coming, so we can have those measures in place, because like I said, we want to give you the respect that you deserve. I know a lot of times when our elected officials, they wear different hats and with different organizations, but there still needs to be some order, so there's no disrespect with the elected officials and the community.
So, just so I understand, Mo, you're looking at protocols.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, protocols. Of course, I was there along with my wife, and Commissioner Hamilton was there, Commissioner Mitchell was
Yep.
there, Commissioner Marley was there. And later on, and as you well know, Cumberland County Board of Commissioners Chairman Kirk DeViere came.
Yes.
And he came and to present and read the county proclamation, which I have tonight, on behalf of the county. And then when he got there, he really didn't know what time he was supposed to be there, who he was supposed to see. I don't have to go any further than that, but, so that would be, protocols would be most helpful. You know, if we knew exactly what time the kickoff was gonna be, what time the window is, what time for folks like the county chairman to come in, and he read this entire proclamation.
Absolutely.
So I appreciate you saying that about the protocols. And in future events, because it was well attended,
Yes.
even though it was warm, a little. But, I got some dancing in anyway, so
And thank you for that.
it
And
worked
that's,
out for me.
and that's another thing, you know, when you guys come out, we understand that you're human. We want you to have a good time. We want everyone to have a good time. But I think, like I said, doing a 20-year veteran Air Force full, Commissioner Gridley. You know, I do believe in order. Like I said, we want everybody to have a great time because Juneteenth isn't going anywhere.
Mayor, may I?
Yes,
I'd like to respond.
but brief.
It will be.
Okay.
Because I was going to say this until later. When you talk about the incident, I'd like to explain it. I'm going to call Miss Debbie up if she'd like to come up. I originally had asked Mr. Morrison if there were parking spaces. He told me they were limited. I pulled in up there. There was nothing marking anything. There was no barricades. There was nobody standing there directing us. I was told. So I parked between two vehicles that were already there. I got out of my car, I walked up, and I was mingling with the crowd. I walked back down, there's two women all over my vehicle, shaking it, moving it, playing with my side mirrors, and I said, leave my car alone. So they erupted on me, and
Very loud.
very, I mean, they both vicious, it was vicious what they did to me. So they told me I needed to move my car. I didn't know that the vendors had a paid parking place. I had no way of knowing, it wasn't explained to me, it wasn't marked. So I walked up, I just turned around, I walked up and talked to Miss Debbie and asked her if it was, in fact, paid parking places. She said, yes, it was. I walked back and got in my car, and I moved it, and they're yelling at me, we're gonna call the sheriff, we're gonna call the sheriff. I said, fine, I'll call the police, which I didn't do. They got on the phone, I don't know who they were calling. So I moved my car down to below there, and one of the ladies pulled in behind me, and I got out and I said, look, I'm sorry, I'll apologize. I didn't know that was a paid vendor parking place. And she said, no, you don't have to apologize to me. You need to go up there and apologize to her, being rude and unprofessional again. So I turned to walk away, and she said, what's your name? I said, I don't have a name. She said, you don't have a name? I said, no. So I just left. And I went down. Now, Chief Dollinger was on his way. Miss Debbie had called him.
I called Chief because I knew he was on his way to be in the foundation booth, and I said, how far out are you? He said, about 15 minutes. Why, what's up? And I said, I think Commissioner Hamilton is having a little bit of an issue with someone. He asked me if one of the officers was there. I said no, and he showed up right away. But he never approached the woman. He never said anything to that woman. He just came and he sat down in the foundation's little tent.
Right.
And she, I guess, assumed she was intimidated by that, but if she would have read, we had a big sign up that said Hope Mills Police Foundation, she would have knew why he was sitting in that tent.
He didn't come because I called him. I didn't call anybody. I went up there, I explained what had happened. I talked to Mr. Morrison, and he said somebody should have been out there. There should have been barricades, because I didn't know. I wasn't informed. I had already talked to him. He said there was limited parking places. That was all that I knew. But like I said, when I walked up, I had two people shaking my car, pushing it, walking around it, jerking on my side mirrors. And so what am I supposed to do? They immediately became rude and vicious with me. So the next thing I know, the next day I get a text saying that it had come to so it was on social media. They not only put my face on there, all my information, my car, my license plate number, which I think is extremely dangerous. That should never have happened. And she even admitted that she was shaking my vehicle, which is a misdemeanor. You can't touch someone else's property. I never said anything to her again about that. It was also shared by 2 committee members of this town. Town manager was tagged, Miss Royal was tagged. I don't know why they were tagged. To me, in my opinion, I never gave my name. I don't know how they found out my name. Was this a setup for me? There was 2 vehicles beside mine. So none of them were called out. I was the only one that was called out. All my information was shared, which, again, I think is extremely dangerous for me in this position. I'm getting emails on my professional emails now from people. So to me, that was wrong on their part. I did absolutely nothing to anybody. It wasn't intentional. I tried to apologize. It wasn't accepted. So I walked away. I'm also a veteran, so I believe in order as you do. But that was very unprofessional for them to come at me like they did.
Like I said, I was not there for that part of it. I saw you and the mayor, but the piece is, like I said, the part, I want to try to fix that because that should have never happened.
Appreciate it, Mo.
Shouldn't have.
Commissioner Hamilton, I appreciate that too. You good?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Usually, we don't respond to public comments, but obviously tonight we suspended the rules. Commissioner Marley spoke, Commissioner Hamilton spoke. Next up and last, unless there's someone else, Sally Bailey.
Good evening. It's good to see y'all. Let me talk about appearance real fast, okay? Evidently, I found out this afternoon from Scott, who's chairperson of the appearance committee, there's been a really big misunderstanding about the gazebo, okay? And what happened was, it's confusing, okay? We decided, Scott said something about not doing the gazebo. I thought we were going to do the gazebo. So I had already started planning stuff and everything else, and I called Scott, and he said, well, thought we weren't going to do it. I talked to Lisa, and she said that, you know, the same thing, she thought we weren't going to do it. I said, well, nobody's doing it, we'll go ahead and do it, okay? So a friend of mine, Ruth Fairley, who's sitting in the audience, and she and I got together. I'm on the appearance committee, Ruth isn't, she is a public citizen, okay? We bought ribbons, we bought flags, bought a big flag. It's not showed up yet. I'm worried. But anyway, we bought a big flag. We bought banners. I called Sharon Reeves, who's over the historical committee, and she told me that they thought they had at least 4 of the small banners to go on the sides, okay? And I thanked her very much for letting us borrow them. So when I called her today, that they did not have them, okay? I'll let her tell y'all about that one, okay? So anyway, just want you to know that someone went and put the banners around the gazebo. That's fine. But nobody came to the chairperson of the appearance committee and asked him. I'm co-chair. If you can't get a hold of him, most time you can get a hold of me. I do not think that the committees understand, and I'm going to make it perfectly blank tonight, the appearance committee is over all of the appearance of the town, okay? We're the ones who decide what. We're not the ones, the Boy Scouts didn't come to us and ask us how we wanted the flags put out here in front of the town hall. That was another thing that got me, okay? So I want everyone to know that this is our job. We take it seriously. We're going to do it, and you need to ask us. I appreciate them doing it because I think the more we put up there, it will look good. But nobody called me, and they sure didn't call Scott and say, well, what have you got? Lisa knew that we were doing bows And I've got to say, Ruth has made them, and they're beautiful. We were doing American flags, and we were going to do a big flag over the gazebo, okay? That said the 250th anniversary. That's still in the plans, okay? But again, nobody asked us. So let's try to work together, and I don't step on your shoes, and you don't step on mine, okay?
Okay, thank you, Sally. All the committees make recommendations. And I just wanted to come back and say that again. Sally, when are you guys meeting in July?
We're supposed to meet tomorrow, but we're not going to. We're going to meet again, in July, but he has not come up with a time.
Okay,
I will let you know.
please, because I would like to attend your next meeting.
If I can, add a little bit of clarification. Since January of this year, Arts and Culture and HPC has been planning out the Charter Day celebration for 6 months. About a month ago, we went ahead and purchased the bunting and the decorations for the decoration of the gazebo at Hope Mills Lake. We have made that very clear for quite some time. I even put the flyer for the Charter Day celebration in the last manager's report. So it's been known for a while. It's 2 committees that formed together with our staff, myself, LaMarca Morrison, Chief Dollinger, Don Cisco. We've all been meeting since January. And so about a couple weeks ago, we were contacted by by the Appearance Committee about their plan to, now I'm not sure if we're talking about the same one, but we're talking about the gazebo at the lake. So what I want to make sure people understand, this is town property. Like you said, Mayor, the committees make recommendations. Staff does not have to go to the committee. Committee needs to come to staff. And this is one of the main reasons why we keep talking about streamlining these processes, because we do need to know what the activities of these committees are before things are greenlit, so we can make sure that the expenditures are adequately spent and things of that nature. So I do want to make sure we highlight that there has been some confusion with the activities of the committees. If you recall, several years back, we tried to set up a committee of committees meeting every quarter where all the chairs got together so you wouldn't have duplication of services. We stopped doing that because we couldn't get any committee chairs to attend. So there has been some concerns about ensuring that the activities of the committees are not overlapping, but with respect to this particular issue, I want to make sure we clarify that 2 committees got together and started planning out this event a while ago, and part of that is the decoration of the gazebo and the lake during the 4th of July celebration. We've actually already purchased all the information, all of the goods, and we have actually conveyed that information to the Appearance Committee as well. Thank you.
Answer to that, please. Let's pull this all out, okay? All right, when I talk to Sheriff.
Sally, you're going to have to come to the mic.
You can't hear me?
I can hear you, but you got to come to the mic so it's in the record.
Okay. When I talked to Sharon Reyes about, were they going to do anything, okay? No. There was no bows. There was nothing. They were going to decorate tents. It's my understanding that they were going to do the tents for Founder's Day, okay? And she said, y'all do the gazebo. You know, we kind of worked it out between the 2 committees. We wanted to do the gazebo. They wanted to do the tents and everything for Founder's Day. And they were supposed to have a meeting sometime, I guess it's maybe sometime this week. She was telling me that today, that they were supposed to have a meeting to finalize everything before the 4th. But so there's no problem with us with the gazebo. And the Appearance Committee, I'm lost on this one. So my understanding when I read the codes and stuff like this for the Appearance Committee, that we're the ones who decide what we want to put down there. Did we ever always go to the board? Yes, you know, and say, we're going to do this and this and this, and they were happy with it, okay? So I don't see a problem if your Appearance Committee is over planting the flowers, Do I have to come to y'all every time I wanna put a pansy in and say, I need to put the pansies in here now?
Nope.
Okay. Do I need to come in the summertime when I say we need to do a lantana? I need enough of money for this? Do I have to come to y'all and say, we need to, now this part we will do. The part, whatever, the flower bed down there, the rainwater thing that's dying and looks pathetic, somebody needs to do about that. So we've talked about that too. Probably won't do it until fall, but you know, at least I can see having to call Parks and Rec and talk with them over that. But as far as decorating Christmas, for the gazebo at Christmas time, the fences or anything else around, I don't see why the Parents Committee has to get involved with Parks and Rec unless they are going to be the ones to help put it up. At one time, Parks and Rec didn't put it up. Well, yes, they did. I take that back. They did help us put it up. They're the ones who got on the ladder, hung the swags, hung the bows. We put up the lights and stuff like this. They would do it on the gazebo down at the lake. They did gazebo up here. So we did all that. So, I mean, again, it's plain to me why all of a sudden I have to check with Parks and Rec over everything. I mean, I believe in working together. That's not a problem. But again, if we're over what the town looks like, what we want it to look like, then that's our job, okay? You don't think so, Ms. Gurley?
Listen, we've been through this before, years ago. You have to present the plans to the board or through the department before any action is done or any work has been done. It has to be, because we're spending taxpayer dollars. We have to know what's being done. Suppose you put something out there that, that Public Works say that should not even be there, or they was having plans to do something else. That's why it has to be presented first before any action is taken.
I really do not think that your appearance committee is going to put something out that is going to offend anyone, okay?
Sally,
Even at
that's why you
Christmas
present
time, okay?
Sally, the answer, I'm gonna tell you what the answer is. The answer is something that we've gotten away from, that really worked out well. We used to do the quarter steering committees. Now, we got away from that. And when you get away from that, you lose the collaboration between the committees of who's on first base, who's on second, who's on third, who's in the box next to bat. And I think that we have to go back and we have to especially with fall coming up, now is the time, once we get past July 4th, is to put that steering committee back together and let's collaborate and talk it out of what everybody's going to do over the fall holidays. That's the answer, Sally. It really is. That's the answer. Because, like I said, the Parents Committee can be doing one thing, HPC can be doing something, Parks and Rec is doing something, and everybody assumes somebody's doing something they aren't.
Well, the 4th of July got messed up, but I don't think Christmas or anything else we ever do will be confused as this is, okay?
Well, I ain't gonna say it's gonna get messed up. It would just be good just to have that collaboration between the committees. And I think that's what's missing.
Well, I don't mind working with anyone.
I know that.
Lord, I did this for longer than you've ever said.
I know that,
okay?
Sally. I thank you very
So,
much.
you know,
Mayor,
let's
Go ahead.
continue
clear
on.
something up real quick?
Yes, you can.
Just as a
Commissioner
liaison to the Appearance Commission. The Appearance Commission had no idea that there were 2 other committees in the town that were planning any kind of decoration. We found out there was no collaboration with us. It might have been out since January, but we had no idea until about a month ago, whenever all the committee chairs came in and said what they were doing. And that's when we found out about it. There was supposed to be collaboration between our chair and Sharon, and I don't believe that ever happened. I don't think our chair was ever called in on any of the committee meetings of what was going on, and it's fine. I don't care who decorates it, just so it's up there, because we need something. But all of our, and I'm not sure where the miscommunication happened, Sally, but all of our committee members were aware that we were not supposed to go forward with decorations. We had that discussion where I said, don't go forward with it. And you said you would see what you would do. I wasn't aware that you were going to go ahead with the bows and things.
Because there was nothing going on. and I could not see this 250-year anniversary of my country.
Yeah, but I had
Not
left all the,
decorate
well,
down a Hope
our
Mills?
chair and secretary were here at that meeting when we found out what was going on, and I had called you and let you know that we don't need to go forward, that two other committees were taking care of it. So
I
I'm not
talked to
sure where the miscommunication
I talked to
happened.
Scott, and he said, if y'all want to do it, and it was coming out of our pocketbook, it's not coming out of the town of Hope Mills. No one has given me one dime or Ruth one dime to do any of this. We've done this out of the heart and the love for this country, okay?
I
That's the
appreciate
only
that,
thing
Sally.
is for this country.
I appreciate you, Sally.
And I want to tell you something, Scott told me tonight that they had another meeting with some of the other committees. We were not invited. So if you don't invite us, how we all want to sit down and work anything out, people?
Going back to the steering, Mark, you want to add in on this? I mean, why not? I mean, let's just clear the air.
I'm Mark Hess. I'm the chairperson of the Parks and Rec Committee. I had no intentions of speaking tonight. I wasn't aware of all the difficulties we've been having. So I think you're 100% right. We need to bring back the committee of committees. We can call it whatever we want, because that did help coordinate everything together. Obviously, not every chairman can be there all the time. I think I might have missed one. I didn't miss many, but I've noticed over the past, especially when you talked about the Christmas decoration committee, turning it over to the appearance committee, and they didn't want it. So I think maybe if we start that committee again sometime after the 4th in the fall, meet once a quarter or whatever you want to do it, I think that'd be a good idea. We need to get back on track.
I think so too. Thank you, Mark. LaMarco, can we get the steering committee back together? I know you guys were very instrumental in doing that. But when we put it back together, chairs and liaisons up here on this board, we got to make sure that each one of the committees are represented. Because that's why it fell apart to start with. Because the attendance kind of drifted away. So liaisons, we're going to need your cooperation when they get the steering committee schedule put back so the chairs can be there. And you can be there too if you want. I mean, I attended a number of them through the years. And I think the collaboration piece, like I said, everybody knows who's on first, who's on second, who's on third, who's in a batter's box. That's the way you do it. All right. Anybody else want to speak? Heck, I've done suspended the rules at least 3 times. Is there anybody else that wants to come up and speak? Is that it? Yes, ma'am. Yes, you may.
And I'm coming as myself, Tara Jordan, 4500 Black Stallion Court. I do want to just say thank you to this board because I understand the frustration, the crazy, everything that goes on with you sitting up there, and I know it's not as easy as people think it is sitting on this board. I know how the long nights that you spend up, looking at different policies and looking at different things and talking with people. And as somebody said before, we need to get off of the Facebook and the Instagram and things like that, and let's get back to being doing the business of Hope Mills. And so somebody also made the comment about the town manager and Mr. Marley, Commissioner Marley. I want to thank you for that, for backing up your people. Because when they go out and say different things about our people, your staff, they're actually talking about y'all. Because you're the ones who make the budget. They present the budget to you. The people that are sitting on this board up here, they're the ones that approve this budget. So if you have to be mad, upset, we can be angry or whatever, but each one of you on this board is the reason why we have a budget. You make sure that our budget is balanced. Not the commissioner, not the town manager, not no one. You are the ones that make sure that our budget is presented. So I just want to say thank you, because guess what? I know how hard it is for you to sit up there and take all the backlash and the things like that. And I know how the committees and the things run in this town. I've been around here for a little while now. And I just want to say thank you because it is a thankless job sometime, and just to say thank you and keep doing what you're doing. We appreciate you, and we hope that as we keep growing, that you keep bettering our town and making sure that we are, as they say, the best of the best out here in these municipalities. So thank you for all that you do.
Thank you, Dr. Jordan. All right, that's it for public comments. We're going to item number 4. Mayor Pro Tem.
Motion to conduct a closed session pursuant to NCGS 143-318.11A3, attorney-client privilege, A5 land acquisition, and A6 personnel.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Seeing none, you opposed? Oh, okay. Seeing none opposed, we'll be back very short.
Mayor, take Nathan with you, show him where you want him, please.
Sweep somebody else for y'all. Gotta pick someone.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Move to seal the minutes of the closed session until such further time as the release of the information would no longer frustrate the purpose of the closed session, and further that action was taken.
Okay. I need to make an announcement before I go back, and I overlooked one email comment from Amanda Ingram, and I will read that here shortly after I make this announcement. I apologize, Amanda. We were talking about committees, board members, and I forgot about just didn't see your email in time to read it, but I will read it after I make this announcement. And this announcement is: the consensus of this board by a 3-2 vote is the town manager's contract will not be renewed in March 2027, and advertising for that position will begin in fall 2026. Mayor Pro Tem.
I want to read something. So let me be clear. Unfortunately, I cannot discuss what was said in closed session. However, I'm going to read something called The Drowning Man. A fellow was stuck on his rooftop in a flood. He was praying to God for help. Soon, a man in a rowboat came by, and the fellow shouted to the man on the roof, "Jump in, I can save you." The stranded fellow shouted back, "No, it's okay. I'm praying to God, and He is going to save me." So the rowboat went on. Then a motorboat came by. The fellow in the motorboat shouted, "Jump in, I can save you." To the stranded man, he said, "No thanks. I'm praying to God, and He's going to save me. I have faith." So the motorboat went on. The helicopter came by, and the pilot shouted down, "Grab this rope, and I will lift you to safety." To the stranded man, again, he replied, "No thanks. I'm praying to God, and He is going to save me. I have faith." So the helicopter reluctantly went away. Soon the water rose above the rooftop, and the man drowned. He went to heaven. He finally got his chance to discuss his whole situation with God, at which point he exclaimed, "I had faith in you, but you didn't save me. You let me drown. I don't understand why." To this, God replied, "I sent you a rowboat, a motorboat, and a helicopter. What more did you expect?" Unfortunately, I am not able, due to the closed session, to say why I voted to not renew the town manager's contract. There is a reason. But just know that it was not an overnight decision. It was not something that I was influenced by. I am not a part of the we. I'm not a part of the group. I don't know who said what to who. I don't know who is doing what to who. That is not my business. As I say, it's not my elephant. It is not my peanut. What I do know is what I expect. What I do know is what things should look like. What I do know is if I'm asking something, 9 times out of 10, it is a reason. I'm not asking to demean you. I'm not asking to make you any different. I'm asking because I know what the chaos is, and I'm trying to give the best of my ability to ensure that you are not caught in this chaos. That is it. Thank you.
Mayor, if I could speak.
Go ahead.
Everybody knows who the group is, and that group was promised a sacrifice. And I would be careful quoting scripture at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Chancellor.
It wasn't a scripture. It's a fable.
It's a fable out of the Bible. And again, I'll be careful doing that, but I'll leave that I'll leave that here.
Sometimes a wise man needs to not.
Okay. Commissioner Hamilton, did you want to read it, or do you want me to read it?
It's up to you.
I haven't.
Go ahead then.
Okay. All right. So Amanda Ingram sent this in to the board, and I think all of us got a copy of this earlier today. So she's got some thoughts about the budget. She was here last week, and she signed up for public comments. And then we went into closed session because we had a time-sensitive issue that we needed to discuss. And I wrote back, what I'm telling you is what I wrote back today in an email back to her, sincerely apologizing for the 2 hour plus that we were all in closed session. We didn't realize we were going to be in closed session that long. We really didn't. But sometimes discussions can evolve with questions and time-sensitive material and actions. So we didn't return in time. If I had known, or if I have a crystal ball where I know that a closed session would go that long, I would definitely move it differently than where it is on the agenda. But sometimes we move up a closed session only because it's time sensitive or the availability of someone that is involved in the issue itself. Of course, I cannot talk, or nor will I disclose what the closed session was about or who was about, but it's only an explanation. And I sincerely, respectfully, and deeply apologize, Amanda, for the time you spent waiting on us to come back out of closed session to speak, and then finally saying, I'm not going to wait any longer, I've got to go home. And I respect that, I truly do. So she wrote this email to me. So here are my thoughts on the budget, which I am emailing to you and the rest of the board, since you like to reiterate how often you have no voting power. Number one, pass a budget and stick to it. Those three letters, those three words in capped, before you raise the tax rate. Otherwise, what is the point in having a dadgum budget in the first place? I went through and tallied up all the budget amendments I could find for the 2025-2026 fiscal year. It came to a total of $636,712. Amanda, I didn't even know that amount of all the budget amendments. That's some pretty good math. Now, some of that was supposed to be paid for using asset forfeiture funds, bringing the total down to $591,862. Most of that is the proposed $430,000 budget amendment on the agenda tonight to fix the walking trail path. If this was a one-time occurrence, it wouldn't be a huge issue, but it's not. Number two, as mentioned in the state auditor's report, the town has frequently used funds meant for reserve to cover these budget amendments, depleting that reserve. Reserves are meant to emergencies, not because a town department wants newer equipment or to pay a lawyer for an investigation that was unwarranted and based solely off hearsay. If departments cannot stick to their budgets, the townspeople should not carry the burden through a tax increase. The head of the department should be held accountable, as well as the town manager who coordinates all departments. Number three, will those who received unfounded raises be forced to pay that money back? Will their salaries be decreased to the amount it was before the raise? Or are the townspeople responsible for eating the cost of that mistake? Those thousands of dollars in the difference of the salaries could be used to cover the $4,600 to lease courts from the TJ Robertson Life Center. But that would require accountability. It's page 1. Page 2, it's only one paragraph. If you have read to the end, then I thank you. I know the likelihood of this actually being mentioned at the meeting is low. But I wanted you to at least have my opinion in the back of your mind before the discussion of the budget occurred. Take the time to make a budget, stick to it, and then next year talk about a tax increase. Prove to the town of Hope Mills that you believe in accountability and hold department heads to a budget before demanding more money from the hard-working townspeople. Thank you. Amanda, I have read it all. I have read it into the record. And as I put in my email to you, I respect you not being here tonight. And please continue coming to our meetings. And if you cannot, then continue sending emails. And we will consider them as I have tonight and read it into the record. Again, I apologize for the lateness of the closed session last Monday. But that's all I can say, and I hope that you continue to come back. Okay, next item is item number 5, new business approval of the walking trail repair contract and bid approval, and to allow the town manager to execute the contract. There are no attachments. Chancellor, you got this? Or Beth's got it?
Beth does.
Okay.
You have 2 pages that are, they have McAdams on them. So I would like to do a little explanation before I request that you take any action. The sheet that looks like this is a spreadsheet. It is a front and back. That is our engineer's certified bid tab, meaning we had 6 bids that came in. You'll see across the top, the companies that submitted are listed across the top. And then on the very back page down at the bottom, those numbers are justified by, I feel like is that really loud? Sorry. Let me quiet down or back up one. You'll see the total numbers. So I don't know that I've ever seen this occur in a bidding situation, but our apparent low bidder is Carolina Construction of Fayetteville. And if you'll look over on the letter that the engineer attached for you, it gives an explanation. So basically what they do is take all 6 bids back to the office. They go through each line item. So the contractor was provided the description of the item, the quantity that would be needed to complete this job, and then they are provided the units. It is up to the contractor to provide to the town what costs they will do that item for. So I'm just going to give a quick example. If you look at number 1 under demolition, there's 175 square yards of demolition that's required. And then if you go across the board, each of those companies have provided a unit cost. So that would be $35 per square yard for 175 for a total of $6,300. I'm not going to go through all of those. I'm just letting you know what that bid process is. So basically, they give us what they can do the job for. Then when we collect all 6, there's a total number. Those total numbers are on the sheet that is the letter. The apparent low bidder is Carolina Construction of Fayetteville. However, when they did the calculations, their bid was actually $210,000, which On their paper, it was 281. They're still the low bid, but in this instance, and what is in this letter, is that the engineer is recommending that we have to allow the contractor to let us know if it was truly a mathematical error or if they can actually do the job for a total of $210,000. I'm not going to speculate, but in my professional opinion, they cannot. So they will likely pull their bid, which doesn't mean we rebid the project because we had a total of 6. So we would go with the next lowest bidder. That makes them a non-responsive bidder. So the next lowest bidder would be K&C Contractors. They are somewhat local. They're out of Red Springs. They were the contractor that completed the Heritage Park project. I did speak with Lamarco before the meeting tonight. I haven't heard from any of our inside people. Obviously, we're doing inspections on their work, although it's his project, but he had a good experience with them, which gives me some hope. Sometimes that's not the case, and sometimes we don't know the contractor, but the bidding requirements require us to take the lowest responsive. So what I am asking of you tonight, this money is set aside for this year, so if we do not go ahead and move forward with this contract now, we would have to wait until August, which would mean they would not be able to start until sometime after August because that approval won't come back to you before August. At this stage, what we would typically do is we would know which one exactly it is, but in this case, we don't know because we have reached out to the contractor on Friday. And again, today I called and also sent an email, and I've not gotten a response from them. So I would ask that you allow us to move forward with this and let the town manager execute the contract with whomever may be the lowest, whether it be Carolina Construction or K&C Contractors for the purposes of getting the trail fixed. Both of those are within the budgeted amount. We did the budget amendment for 430. The next lowest is 307, so we're still well under that amount that we budgeted. And I think that our folks who use our park and our walking trail would love for that to be finished. And I would like for it to get done before we have a large rain event and something else washes out over there.
Beth,
Yes, sir.
thank you for your explanation. Since we're going to table item B to next Monday night,
Okay.
my thought is to table this one as well, to give you guys the amount of time for a week to research, contact whoever it is that's actually going to do the work, and maybe present. We would redress it next Monday if that is.
That will be fine. I know you and I had conversation about possibly there would not be another meeting before June was over. So if there is, we will have a definite answer, and then what will happen is it will be the same certified bid tab, but this letter will state it will be a recommendation from our engineer that we hired that will state which one is the actual lowest bidder, which should be K&C, unless they decide to pull their bid. Then we would have to go the next. But I think it will have a clear answer on this definitely by next Monday.
Okay. So, board, my recommendation is to table item A until next Monday at our special meeting, starting at 6. Consensus of the board good? All right.
Thank you.
All right, next item is B, consideration and approval of resolution 2026-010, Hope Mills Personnel Policy Updates. That's under tab 2, and everybody's got a copy of it. Let me ask this, Leanne, when you come up. let me ask you this, and I'll share it with the board too. If you have copies of everything, that would be great. As you could tell, there are two board members that are not with us tonight for probably the duration of the meeting. I haven't seen them come back. It appears that Commissioner Marley, Commissioner Mitchell have left. So, instead of going through all this tonight, being that we're tabling it anyway till next Monday, would the board be, would the appetite of the board be to take these documents, take the time this week to review them? And if there's any questions about these documents, email, of course, Chancellor and Leanne. And then next Monday night, be prepared to go through the whole thing.
Can I just kind of give a brief of what this
can.
is? So that you have two documents. So you have this one that says updates, and then this is a draft of the policy. So the reason I gave you a draft is because these are changes that were made after you originally got it with recommendations from staff and the commissioners.
So the ones that Karanda printed, are they, they're not,
Those were the ones from the 15th, so those are,
so we need to give them back so she can shred them?
yes.
Ah.
I changed the header so you would be able to tell the difference.
Okay.
I couldn't hear you.
Leanne, do you have also a copy for Commissioner?
Yeah, I have copies for everyone.
Okay. Just leave them at their seats, and they can come back and pick them up.
Sure.
Go ahead. Sorry.
So this document lists the 45, I didn't list all the, renumbering, and I didn't list any of the formatting, but any changes to policy at all that the MAPS group made or that we discussed are done in this. There was a total of 45 changes. It's also identified in the reason category of kind of what type of change it was, whether it was due to the auditor's report and recommendations, whether it was internal practices that just in the last 8 years since the last policy was updated, that things have changed, or if they were legal things. For example, there was a new law passed since 2018 called the Pump Act that requires us to have legal language in there. So those are all identified in there, just so you can kind of quickly see what they are. The article and the section numbers in the new policy that I just gave you are on here, so you can go and look directly into the document and see what's there. And if you have any questions about that, wording, things like that, we can always take it back to the MAPS group and they can, give us updates. So, and like I said, we have until the 30th.
Okay, so, and this would give the board the opportunity to completely review both these documents. It would give Chancellor the opportunity to finish his revision, and especially Dan.
Yes.
Now, does Dan have this copy?
This copy.
I want to make sure that Dan Hartzog gets this copy tomorrow morning for his review, and that everybody's ready to go next Monday.
I've already talked to Dan. I'm going to make sure he has a copy of this one. This just has the edits that we made. He'll have that copy in the morning.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Item 6, adoption of the proposed FY 26-27 budget. Item A, approval of FY 26-27 budget ordinance 2026-004 and corresponding fee schedule under tab 3. I'm going to ask the board. You going to?
Well, I have some questions I want to ask. I know.
I was going to ask the board, since we have tabled 2 items, and we are missing 2 board members. This is a budget. This is our operating budget. And since we're missing 2 board members, do we want to table till next Monday? That's if. Or do we just want to approve it tonight? Minus Commissioner Mitchell and minus Commissioner Marley.
Mayor, I don't want to take the chance on approving it tonight and then having issues Monday with why did we approve it without the other 2 people here.
Do you want to table it?
I'd like to table it. I mean, I don't want to, but I think that's probably our best choice.
Well, let me say this, and Brittany, come up to the mic, please. I want to be very clear about what we're doing. We have 9 days today. 9, which means if we table this till next Monday night, it's going to get approved as presented. Because Brittany, I have the ordinance ready, the message is ready. There's no time to make any changes in this budget. None. I'll sign that ordinance next Monday night, and that's the way it goes. So it's either, and I feel uncomfortable about approving our town budget without 2 commissioners here. But that's my opinion. It's up to the board. It's up to the board what you guys want to do. But know that if we do this, I'm telling you, if we do this, there's no room for, we're not moving, we're not yanking anything out, there's no more cuts.
Mayor, may I?
It's going to be a straight up.
Ms. McLaurin, is that going to be too short a time for you to get this done by 1 July?
The 29th, the 29th literally gives me 1 day.
Is that enough time for you,
No,
though?
ma'am, it's not. But we've already extended it this long, so I'll proceed at the direction of the board.
Well, I want to make sure you have enough time. That's kind of where I'm going with that.
I'll make it work.
You will? Are you going to be okay?
Yes.
That's what I got to know. If you're going to be okay, Brittany, then that's what we'll do. But I just wanted the board to know, too, no changes. Go ahead.
I had a few questions, but I don't know that it would make a difference in the tax rate anyway. It was about the contracts that we had talked about. We decided to keep them. I didn't think we should keep them since they're not making any revenue. We're paying out more money to contractors than we have revenue coming in. That was one of them. The other one was the VFW. We're cutting money for our committees, but we're giving the VFW $5,000. I didn't think that was something we should be doing. I think the mayor was going to talk about that this evening.
Well, there's a number of things I wanted to talk about this
Yeah, I
evening,
know.
but if we're going to table, then
I know, we might as well just go ahead.
Can I speak? Because if we're tabling, can I at least get proposed with the questions? Because I guess I'm assuming that the tabling means that we're moving forward Monday. So we don't have time if there's more questions or more decisions that need to be made about cuts. And then I'm also asking, at this point, it's not a discussion with me. Can the board please give me some direction and let me know what to cut, how much, and where you want it from? We just voted unanimously last Monday to approve the $5,000 for the VFW. So if that's not the wish of the board, let me know how much we need to allocate towards the VFW so I can make that change and we'll be ready to move forward on Monday. Unfortunately, I don't think any changes are gonna happen to the senior activities. Lamarco and his staff have continuously reviewed the program instructors' agreements. They have a budget. The only thing at that point I ask is that they stick into alignment with the budget that we've allocated for program instruction. They said that they will review the contracts on a raise-by-raise basis, because I know that was also one of the questions that everybody was listed as maybe a contract increase, and that they will look at that on a contract performance-like basis to ensure that we're paying them competitively. So even with that, unless we're gonna move forward with decreasing the program instruction contract, I don't understand any more discussion at this point. I just really need some solid numbers for the budget so we can move forward to adoption.
so the only item, let me be clear now, the only item that's up for discussion is the 5,000 from the VFW. There's no other items. That's the only one. And it's in the budget, so I guess the discussion is that the 5,000 will not go to the VFW, but it will go to the committees. Is that I don't know what the
I don't
motion
think I
is.
said that.
I don't know
I was just kind of, if we're gonna cut the committees, the people that actually are doing the work for the town, then why would we pay the VFW $5,000 when I feel we have enough room here in the town to hold meetings? We've talked about that before. That was what we talked about at one point. It was said that the VFW would do this for free out of the goodness of their heart. I brought it up once. I was shut down immediately. So that's pretty much my question, is why we're paying them when we have all this room in town. And the committees are being cut.
Okay. Any other discussion? So is the motion to not pay the VFW 5,000 and to take that 5,000 and put it for more funding in the committees? I mean, I'm looking for a motion. And a second.
Mayor, didn't we decide, I mean, I'm not a big fan of it, but didn't we decide by consensus of the board that we were doing it? And why are we backing out now?
Just want to make sure. She needs to know.
I'm asking.
I don't remember us voting on it. I remember being said that it was added to the budget. I don't remember being voted on.
So, I mean, it's not, we're not taking the 5,000 out. It's just reallocating it somewhere else. So we're not cutting 5,000 out of the budget.
Well, let's just take a consensus of the board.
So it's not going to be. Now, the VFW currently, like I said, the VFW currently has 3 or 4 committees that meet there. If the reason why we're not doing it is for the committees, then the committees will have to meet here at the town, which means they'll have to meet either in the rec center, they'll have to meet in this room. Well, Robbie, if you guys can share your EOC with one of these committees, they'll meet with you. But they won't be meeting at the VFW. But that's the discussion on the board.
Mayor, last Monday, I was asked to bring back a balanced budget at 4.5 cents that included $5,000 for the VFW meeting space.
It did. That's exactly what the board agreed. We told you that, and then we had to look at some other funding to make that balance. This budget, $23,538,359, that's the budget, is balanced with a 4.5 property tax increase. And that is by the direction of this board. It is completely balanced. It will contain a 2.5 COLA. Stop me if I'm wrong. No. Go ahead. Play your slide, Brittany. I think it's at this time that we need to look at the slide. I'm going to let you describe what's in it.
So what this budget includes, of course, our public safety, police and fire departments, our public works and infrastructure, which we allocated some additional money for street maintenance and stormwater, parks and recreation, our general government, and then our planning and economic development departments. So the proposed 26-27 budget is the $23,538,359 million, 4.5 cents tax increase, which puts our tax rate to 52.5 cents per $100 valuation. So it maintains the town's core services, still supporting our public safety operation. We preserved some money for streets and stormwater repair, reduced our reliance on the general fund by cutting some of the reoccurring expenses, and then creating that 1% contingency based on the total budget amount. So this, and I knew it was a unanimous decision because I had to go back and watch the meeting to make sure that I included everything that the board requested last Monday. So last Monday, we came back and added the $68,000 for the police contracts, the $5,000 for the VFW, and then we allocated $60,000 for the tractor for the mowing services townwide. The board also suggested that or recommended that there's no COLA calculations for the commissioners, and everything else that we have previously discussed that was included in the budget. On the side here, I'm just showing our percentage to our revenues and then what our expenditures are. You can see our main revenue generator, of course, is our ad valorem taxes. And when it comes to where the town of Hope Mills spends money, we spend 56% of all of our revenues solely on public safety. So for the police department, I changed the wording a little bit. So we eliminated the delayed staffing approach for the 5 police officer positions. We restored the $68,000 in contracts that was previously cut from the budget. So that's been restored. And the fire department was able to fund the 1 firefighter position that had been frozen. For public works and infrastructure, we pulled all of the salary and fringes out of Powell Bill. So what that means for the town is that 100% of our Powell Bill allocation will be put back into street maintenance and infrastructure. So there are no salary allocations to Powell Bill. That's all being covered now from the general fund. For stormwater, for a better alignment of the revenues and some of the related expenditures and services, we kept 3 positions there, but those positions will be fully supported by the stormwater fund. So thank you, Beth. For streets, we allocated an additional $24,000 for the Safe Streets for All grants match. That wasn't previously in any of the other budget presentations, but I'm trying to go back, Karonda. Let me see. I hit it too fast. But the town of Hope Mills received that grant to build our Safe Streets action plan, basically. So we allocated the $24,000 for that for a match. For Parks and Recs, we did preserve the senior activities. We provided the funding for the tractor and the mowing attachments. We balanced the service delivery with cost-saving measures. This is, Commissioner Hamilton, what you were mentioning. So the Parks and Rec staff will continue to review the instructor programs and evaluate their contracts to see if the class is producing enough activity and if it's a contract that we want to continue to move forth in. So they're going to look at that on a case-by-case basis to see if any of the instructors are eligible for raises or whatnot, as long as it stays within the line item budget for the program instruction. For the general government, we added the $5K for the VFW, the $30,000 for the consulting services from Whit O'Brien, and then we have our 1% contingency, which is based on 1% of the overall budget, and I just put the amount there, and then we have the 2.5% COLA for employees. For planning and economic development, the only thing that I wanted to point out here is that it supports certification increases for licensures and certifications. So that's the only thing that the Planning and Economic Development Department received. And that's basically it.
Thank you, Brittany. Do I have a motion? Change it up, Brittany. We're just going to go on. Do I have a motion to approve the FY 26-27 budget amendment 2026-004 and corresponding fee schedule under tab 3?
Mayor, I make a motion to approve the FY 26-27 budget ordinance 2026-004 and corresponding fee schedule.
Thank you, Commissioner Trimmel. I have a motion to approve the FY 26-27 budget ordinance and corresponding fee schedule. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion. I have a second. Is there any further discussion?
I just have one thing.
Okay.
It's not that I'm trying to be difficult. It's just, and I don't want to rush into this budget approval at all. And my objective was not to take that $5,000 and split it up between the committees. That's not what I said at all. My opinion is that we should give our money to our committees, period. We've had this discussion before. We've made decisions. We never stick to a decision. We go back and forth and back and forth, and we never really get to the point of what we need to be doing. Whether we have the room in town to hold our committees and not pay the VFW, now we don't have room and we're going to pay the VFW. So my opinion is, from this point on, what we need to do is make a decision and keep that decision. Stick to what we decide, because we're back and forth, and that's where the confusion comes in for everybody. Because at one point, like I said, we weren't going to fund the VFW at all. Then we were, and then I'm shut down when I asked the question, and now we're back to giving the $5,000. So, like I said, we just need to make decisions and stick to what we decide. It's not right to keep bouncing it back and forth.
Mayor, I believe we did make a decision last week, if you went back and listened to it, correct?
It was a unanimous decision.
Correct, thank you.
If you want to change that today, Mayor, you know how to direct that on the floor as well. I just wanted to, well, it's a motion on the floor. I'm sorry.
And I'm getting ready to call for the vote. Before I do, I do have pause, and I do have reservation that we're approving a budget without two board members here on one side of the coin. The other side of the coin is that both chose to leave themselves. One of the most important functions of any governing body is approving a town or city operating budget. We approve policies, procedures, budget amendments, property acquisitions, zoning throughout the year. But the one fundamental document that we approve is the budget. Not only for our staff, but for the citizens of Hope Mills. Just like this lady sent about tax increase, I've heard it since April 30th. It's almost every day I have heard something about property tax increase. This is not a one and done. We have $2.2 million in professional services and contract services that we need to look in a deep dive. And we're going to do that. I'm not saying that all of them, or maybe they're all needed, and I think they are. We're going to validate that they all are. That's a lot of money. The other thing we have to do, contracts is one, may have to call the state auditor if we can't unravel it ourselves. Because we're about to ask the taxpayers of this community to add 4.5 cents to their property tax. So we need to be responsible and accountable. The other thing that gives me pause is that 66% of the budget is all in salaries and benefits. 66% of this, of 23.5 million. We desperately need a compensation and classification review of every position in this town. And that is something that this board needs to approve, whether it's internal or external. We need to hold a hiring freeze on positions, except public safety. board needs to approve any new positions. Any of them. Our police department and the patrol officers, chief, need to go on a step plan. I'm laying out what we're going to do in this next year. Now, we may not get it all done, but by God, we're going to start. And when we come back in August, we're going to have a pathway forward. I'm not comfortable with this 4.5. Y'all know that. I'm not. It's the third year in a row for a property tax increase. And we're asking people to continue paying more property tax, and those that are on fixed incomes and limited incomes already have empty pockets. But services are not free, not at all. They have to be paid for. This is the hardest budget since I've been mayor and as a commissioner, both terms, that I have worked on. This has taken this board a considerable amount of time. I wish the other two board members were here. That's why we've ended up with 6 budget workshops. That's why, according to Commissioner Hamilton, we zig and zag. And we have zigged and we have zagged. And Brittany, we'll tell her one thing on one meeting, and then 2 days later, we're going to change it up. So Brittany, thank you for staying the course, because it has been a navigational challenge, because you came in and got a budget that's not yours, but you've made it yours. And you'll stand by this board and by the staff in this room and all the employees that work for this town as we navigate through it. There's going to be a lot of folks that's going to be upset tomorrow morning when they realize that the town of Hope Mills increased property taxes. When Cumberland County didn't, City of Fayetteville didn't, Spring Lake did not. Why Hope Mills? So, this board has not taken this endeavor lightly. We have gone back and forth, many, many times. It's been a learning experience for this new board, and I want to thank the staff for staying the course with us too, because there's a tremendous amount of uncertainty in the staff. This budget does not have a merit. First budget I have ever, since I've been on this board, it's the first one without a merit. I'm not happy about it at all. Just like I'm not happy about working as a state employee. I got no COLA last year myself. And I've said that several times, I'll say it again. So I know what that is. And this board has forfeited their COLA this year, which may not be a lot. Our staff works hard, they work tirelessly every day, and your efforts do not go unnoticed. But this has been a hard budget to balance, an extremely hard budget. So I just wanted everyone to know that from me and from the heart, and I think the board understands this. It's something that when they raise their hands, it's not our proudest moment to raise property taxes. It isn't. We should be decreasing taxes. So unless another board member has a comment, I will call for the vote. All in favor? All opposed? 1. This motion will carry 2 to 1. And it is approved. Item 7, official comments, staff concerns. Anybody from the staff want to say anything? Or does everybody just want to go home? Have a motion to adjourn? Second?
Second.
All in favor? We are adjourned until next Monday at 6.
I didn't get to read what I wanted to read, but that's okay. I mean,